Hey, let's move on to Governor Pritzker. This guy recently signed into law an assault weapons ban. And I'm just curious if if you could explain how the law in Illinois defines assault weapon, because most of us know that's a made up word. It doesn't mean anything, not that I've ever known, other than when Congress and Joe Biden banned it back in the 90s.
Yeah, it's fairly broad, right? It encompasses not quite all, but I would say the vast majority of centerfire semi-automatic rifles.
Yeah.
And most semi-automatic, probably the vast majority of semi-automatic shotguns, some semi-automatic handguns as well, depending on their features, right? So if it has like a threaded barrel, so you can attach a suppressor, I believe that's considered a quote unquote assault weapon under the legislation. It's also got a weird definition of a large capacity magazine, which is another invented term. Right? When does a magazine reach large capacity as opposed to standard capacity? And it depends on what state you're in. Right. So in New York, it's no more than 10 rounds. In Colorado, it's no more than 20. In Illinois now, it's weird. For a handgun, I believe it's no more than 12 rounds. And for a rifle, it's no more than 10. Okay. So they don't even have a standard definition of large capacity. Right. There are variations depending on what type of firearm we're talking about. I mean, you're right. These are all invented terms. I've always said that the real definition of assault weapon is gun they want to ban. And we actually did just see a quote unquote assault weapons ban introduced in Massachusetts that defines assault weapon as every semi-automatic rifle and shotgun. That's it. All of them. I'm surprised they didn't throw in semi-automatic handguns too, to be honest. But that is the definition. And that is, I think, their ultimate goal, right? To ban as many guns as possible by labeling them assault weapons.
Right.
So that's what we're seeing here in Illinois. And so under this law, no sales, no manufacture, existing owners have 300 days to register their existing assault weapons with the state police. Failure to do so is a felony. Meanwhile, if you are caught in possession of a large capacity magazine, that is a misdemeanor offense, which, again, Brett, kind of speaks to, right. That's the silly part of this whole thing. We could talk about this being a constitutional violation, but again, listen, the rhetoric here is these are weapons of war. They don't belong on our streets. They are fueling carnage, and we're going to fine you $750 if we catch you with one. I mean, it makes no sense. Right. And it is absolutely laughable to think that, criminals in Chicago care at all about these laws. I just saw a story about they're looking for a robbery crew who's running around with rifles right now after the gun ban's in place, and they're still out there, using rifles to commit violent crimes. They don't care what these laws are, because if you're out there committing armed robbery and you get caught, you're already facing more serious charges, right? True. So these laws are meant to dissuade law-abiding gun owners from exercising a constitutional right. And that's why they're not only facing, I think we're up to 4 lawsuits. At least by Friday, we're going to be up to 4 lawsuits. But you've got I think it's something like 9 in 10 sheriffs in Illinois who've said, we're not going to enforce this law.
Yep. Yeah, that was the other thing. It's it's like 80 sheriffs total at this point in Illinois. Edwards County Sheriff Darby Bowe basically just said it's a violation of the Second Amendment and the Constitution. These are inalienable rights. I can't enforce this. So, it's just amazing. I mean, you got an Illinois governor who's banning weapons and also calling for registration, which is sort of like grandfathered. If you got them, you got to register them. You got to let us know who you are. And like you said, I mean, I think they have like 120
days. We promise we'll let you keep them once you tell us where they are. Oh, we promise we'll let you keep these battlefield weapons of war that don't belong in our streets. I mean, again, it's absurd.